Morning everyone, we're out on site today. We just started a big job over in Scunthorpe. We're on a big church. We're just scaffolding's going up on the tower at the minute. I'll bang some drone footage up now. You can have a look around it. We just got up to beam level now. The lads have been cracking on with it. It's a fairly complicated scaffold, especially around the back on the nave. And this building, it's a beautiful building. Right up at the top, we've got some really fancy pinnacles on there. And if you notice, there's actually one of the large pinnacles on the northwest corner that's missing. We're currently recarving that at the minute, and early January, I think we're going to come and get a big crane up, and we're going to be craning that back on. So we've got loads of videos to do on this place. It's a fantastic church. There's some really cool gargoyles on the building as well that just look absolutely awesome. It's an absolutely fantastic building. But anyway, today we want to talk about mortar samples. So on this we've got ironstone, and we've also got limestone on the building. It's basically a coursed ironstone but built in a black ash mortar, and then the limestone coins and all the carve works in limestone, and that's got a lighter coloured buff mortar on here. So what you generally find is most buildings, listed buildings, any alterations externally, you're going to need listed building consent for it, and part of that consent is you are going to get a condition on there to do samples, either mortar samples or stone samples. Now we've got both here. I'm going to show the mortar samples, and we've got samples of the ironstone and the limestone. So we're going to have a look at them. So what we've got here is our mortar sample board. We've done the dark black ash mortar, as you can see, down the edge and at the bottom there. We've done 4 samples for that, and then we've done 6 samples for the lighter limestone mortar. And what we've done, you'll see in this top row, there's 4 samples that run across there, another 4 there, another 4 there, another 4 there, and then we've just done this side. We've done 2 together, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. That's 1 sample. There is, you might not be able to see it on the video, but there is colour variations in them. So what we've done, because what we want to do with this project, because all this work, this lime mortar work, rebuilding work and repointing work is going to take place, well, start really in January, February, March. We've got a real frost issue to deal with. So in the black ash mortars, what we've done, we've actually had the architect out today, and this one with a broken sample in there, we've had this one approved now. And what we're doing now is we're running them through some drying and wetting cycles, because we're testing for carbonation. What we're wanting is this mortar to carbonate really quickly, because of the winter work, weather elements, and this some of this mortar is going high up on the tower as well, so we need it to be carbonating quickly. So we've done different samples, we use different aggregates, but this is one that is chosen. So what we're going to do now from this one, we're going to clear this board out. Now we've got the colour sorted, and then we're going to play around with this. We're going to be using ingredients such as putting trass with it. We're going to put PFA with it, all sorts of herbs and spices to get that accelerated carbonation in there. And what we're going to do then is run them through some wetting and drying cycles, and we're going to be measuring the carbonation on the samples. And we're doing exactly the same with the limestone. This is the sample that's been approved, colour sample. So we're going to do probably another 4 variants of that. Put some, we're going to try one. This is just a putty based mortar, is this, and we're going to put a bit of NHL with it, because we want a bit of hydraulic set in it, but not too much. And then we're probably going to try it with some chalking, maybe some limestone, only on small percentages, just to get some carbonation, some speed up the carbonation in it, and a little bit of pozzolanic set as well. So yeah, we'll get these cleared out, and then, like I say, we'll get running through some wetting and drying cycles. What we'll do is we'll basically put in we'll bring this board out every day outside. We'll spray it down with some water, and then we'll take it back in the church building overnight. That'll let it dry out, and then we'll wet it again in the morning or leave it out in the rain, and we'll keep doing that every day. And we're going to test these samples probably 5 days, maybe 15, 25 and 40, something like that. But we are mid-December now, so I think we're starting January, mid-Jan, so we're probably going to get a 30-day test on them for carbonation, but it'll give us a good indication of how quick it's going to carbonate. So we've got these done now. I'll just show you these wall samples that we've done as well, because generally we do this board for the colour samples, and the conservation architects or the conservation officer also likes to see wall samples as well. Going around here, so we'll just spin it right round. So you see what we've done, we've just raked out some of these projection joints. There's one there, and then we've got a couple around here as well. So we like to do these out the way, somewhere that is not really seen, it's not on the front of the building. So I think, yeah, we've got this one which is too light. We put a little bit of PFA in that one to see whether we could get a just a tad, but it ended up darkening the mortar, so that's been abandoned. That one ended up too light, but then this is the one that's been chosen on the colour sample, and you can see it's a fairly good match with the limestone there, and you can see there's that's the original bedding mortar, which is, I'm going to say, they had it originally and they had a good match on it. It's damn near the same colour as the masonry. So that's the one they've gone for, and then we did two other ones. When we put them on, we thought the mortar looked really yellow with that one, so we ended up, we made this one, and we 50%, we put 50% of the mortar that we used on that one, and then 50% mixed up this one. I think we used the NHL2 with some silica sand and a local yellow sand, but it has dried a little bit lighter than we would have thought. But that's just what you need to do. Plenty of samples on, and then we have actually done round here. These are where we've done the black ash mortar samples. So this one goes up to here. This is one sample. This is another sample, and this is the one they've actually chosen. And then we've got one that's a mile out. And when we put that one in, we thought, oh, that's going to be a bit light, is that? So we made a dark one, but that is too dark. But this is what we're matching up to. And you see this now. We've got a sample in here. We've actually took some. We got some of this pointing out, and got some bedding mortar exposed, and it is a really good match onto that. This one's lightened up just through weathering, but when you actually dig out the bedding mortar, it's a really good match, and that will lighten down. We've got this is kind of call it weatherstruck pointing, and it is the original pointing. I first looked at this and I thought, no, that's all sand and cement, just by standing back and looking at it. But once we started just chiseling a little bit out, it is actually the original pointed, so, which was quite surprising. So yeah, we've got this. So we're not gonna repeat this pointing. We're actually just going to recess it slightly. We're not repointing the whole building. It is only where we're replacing the ironstone that's decayed. A lot of this original pointing, like on this area here, is all stopping in. So it's only a small portion that's coming out. What we have had, you can just see it's a bit prominent more further up, but we've got some decay on the ironstone there. Just in a few isolated areas. So we will point up some of these recessed joints, but it's not a wholesale repointing job of the whole building. So here we are, these are the samples we've got. We've got the Limestone samples there. These are 2 samples, and we've actually having this one on the project. This one's got some slight colour variations in it. So the conservation officer's been out, and what we did is basically we put this up just around numerous parts of the building, comparing it with the existing ironstone, and colour and texture, this is the best. And with the limestone as well, what we've got, this is actually a piece of the original from inside, a bit of a mould that dropped off, but it gives us a good indication of the grain structure from inside the masonry. And we have got some iron staining in there, and this is a piece of glebestone. This is one from a project we've done over at Scarfall in Grimsby. So we brought some over here, and this is a really good match from grain structure point of view. There is some iron staining in the Limestone sample, not as much as what's in the existing, but the actual grain structure looks really well. So we've got approval on the Limestone, but we've got a problem that we can only get the Limestone in 300mm hard beds. That's what they're pulling out the quarry, and some of the pinnacle work we're doing here is actually higher than that. We're up to 600. So what we've done is we've got this Cretan limestone as well. Now the grain structure is just ever so slightly different, and it's just a tad lighter, but we're kind of stuck. We can't find any other quarries, limestone quarries, where we can get, you know, this type of grain structure with the iron staining in, with the bed heights that we want, and it's the bed heights that's the real issue. So what we're going to have to do is anything that is around 300mm, we're going to use the Limestone with. Anything that's above that, we're going to use the Cretan with. We don't want to. You could think, well, why don't we just turn it vertically? But we don't want to be doing any work with vertical stones. It's all got to be bed led flat. So we just stuck with that 300mm height. So yeah, we can. These have all been approved now, and like I say, if you're doing any work listed building wise, you're going to need to have samples for the conservation officer to approve. And yeah, we generally find the more we do our research, and we've got a lot of samples anyway, but you know, once you get your quarry samples, we don't present anything that you know is too far out, because it's just a waste of time. So we've been around a lot of limestone quarries. We've got samples, well, we've had them posted out to us, and you know, we've had them up against it, some of these originals, and we don't just generally check one. You know, this is just a sample from internally. We have got a couple of samples externally that we've checked it on as well, because there's nothing to say that they've used the same limestone internally and externally, but they have in this case. So yeah, you just need to check as much as possible. Yeah, so there we go, we've done the samples. It's going to be a while now. We've got to get the stone ordered in, and like I say, do the other samples on the mortar and do the tests on them. But that's generally how we do our samples on site and get the conditions signed off once the list of building application has gone in. We work for, you know, the councils and big clients, and so normally the architects get involved in that side of things. But basically the conservation officer will just send a letter in saying that they've approved the samples and the conditions have been cleared on the building consent. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully we'll get some more videos out on this job when we get going. I think there's some real good ones to come out of this. I'll just flip it around now. You can see these scaffolders have got Burflex on job. There we go. We're on getting a fair way up there, but there's a bit to go yet, and then we've got to do the pinnacles right at the top as well. So there'll be another couple of weeks on that yet. So I hope you enjoyed this, learnt a little bit on Stone Samples and Mortar Samples. See you on the next one.